All right. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Rakak. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Man who taught me this truth, I would like to say shalom to Yakim and Yufil Akwath. You men, women, and little ones that believe on the words of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. It's your brother Michael Allah, coming at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shah, Lord willing to edify. And the title of this lesson is simply, blackouts are coming, You say blackouts are coming. And they're mainly coming on the soils of America, because this is the place that Yahweh Shema Shah is mainly going to continue to plague and to ultimately destroy by the way of those thermonuclear missiles. And as you pay attention to your average Babylonian, your average American, you just see how docile these people are to prophecy. But these are the same people that claim to believe in the Bible or follow the ways of the scriptures. You see? Here it is, all these evils that take place in the earth, and these people still can't consider that it all goes back to the Holy Scriptures, mainly the blackout, because that was one of the plagues that the Lord sent to ancient Egypt to plague those Egyptians. And now you're in modern day Egypt, spiritual Sodom in Egypt, which is aka America, Babylon the Great. And the Lord has sent out those same plagues, you see? But these people have yet to consider that the Lord's Spirit is moving in the earth. But understand and know that this is going to affect you people. This will come to America. Right now you have, certain people are struggling to find jobs. Certain people are becoming unemployed. But eventually you're going to have massive unemployment. And it's going to be at an all-time high. Eventually you're going to have massive homelessness. People are going to become homeless because they're not going to be able to afford the places that they stay at. They're not going to be able to afford to eat, They're not going to be able to afford to do anything. Once the Lord put the spirit on Esau, Edom to intensify, these evils. That's why we're hearing about, energy crisis, rationalizing of energy, having certain cutbacks. And even though you're not really seeing it hit right now, but eventually these things is going to hit, man. Eventually these evils are going to hit. But this from End Time Headlines. This was posted March 25th, 2026. It says, now they are warning that the electric grid is at increasing risk of blackouts due to surging demand. It says power grid operators are warning of a potential energy crisis due to data centers and aging infrastructure. NBC News explains the growing concern that is beginning to hit Americans' wallets. You see? So expect, as the weather continues to heat up, because we're in the springtime. But wait till we get to the summertime where you got 100-degree weather. Then you're going to have Esau, as usual, tampering with his different demonic devices on the left-hand side to tamper with the weather, because scriptures tell you he changes the times and the seasons, So he has these weapons, which is the sword ultimately, on the left-hand side to manipulate certain weather patterns, you know. So a place that probably normally would get no more than 75 degrees, this man will cut it up to 100 degrees in that certain area, seeing that the earth has been given into the hands of the wicked, and he has been given a great sword to kill with that sword. You see, because this is left-hand power given to him by Yahweh Shema Shai. You see? So expect your energy bills to go up, you know. Expect your groceries to continue to go up. And if it's a major blackout, how the hell are you going to be able to cook your food? You know, whether it doesn't even matter if you cook it on a fire. How are you going to keep your certain frozen goods like your meat, different vegetables or fruit certain people might put in the freezer? How are you going to keep these things from spoiling? You know, how are you going to keep these things cool? You see? So these events are going to continue to affect your Americans' pockets, man. Everybody's going to be affected. Let's go here real quick before we go to anything else. This is Amos 3 in verse 6. It says, shall a trumpet be blown in the city and the people not be afraid? Yeah, the trumpet is being blown through the way of the prophets, man. This is a warning going forth, starting with our apostles and elders, a great millstone. And this should move you people with fear. Mainly you so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans. To hell with you heathens, you know. But you Jakes should be afraid. You should be fearing Yahweh Shema Shai, which is the power and God of the Bible, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, you know. And this is who we are telling you who's visiting the earth. We're telling you that the Lord, our power, is the one that's increasing these evils. He's just using man, Esau, Edom, to do it. So this trumpet is being blown, and this should move you with fear. And this should move you to repentance and turning back to your power. Because the only way you're going to be able to escape these evils is if Yahweh Shema Shai is with you. You see? Because the Lord is only coming to deliver a selection, an election out of the nation of Israel. The Lord's not coming back like ancient Egypt to deliver the whole nation of Israel. So if you have Israelite groups that's teaching you that, then you need to get away from them because they're lying to you. You see? Not all Israel is going to be saved on this time. On this side. You have an Israel and you have an Israel of the Most High. You see? It says, shall it be evils in the city, and the Lord, Yahweh Shema Shai, have not done it. You see? Matter of fact, let me get this in the NLT. Amos 3, verse 6 in the NLT. It says, when the ram's horn blows a warning, and that's what the watchmen did in the ancient world. You see? They will foresee the evil, and they will sound an alarm for the people within their city to ultimately prepare for what's coming. It says, shouldn't the people be alarmed? Does disaster come to a city unless the Lord has planned it? See, the Lord has already planned this. This is the plans of the Lord. This is not by coincidence. This is not just happening for no reason. All of these different evils are intensifying because Yahweh Shai is about to return. You see, it says, indeed, the sovereign Lord never does anything until he reveals his plans to his servants, the prophets. So the plans that the Lord has revealed to the prophets in these last days is plans of evils for America and for all of you that dwell therein. You see? But on the right-hand side, the Lord also said in Jeremiah 29 and 11 concerning the elect, that I know, the roughly paraphrasing, I know the thoughts that I think towards you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. That's tying right into the secrets that the Lord has revealed unto us in these last days, because these are secrets that's being sounded. You see? These are secrets that's being told, and only the elect can pick up on these secrets that's being said and understand. Because the secrets is ultimately the prophecies, man. You see? Which is the plans of Yahweh Shema Shah. That's what prophecy ultimately entails. The plans of the Lord. But let's get this video right here.
As Americans feel the shock of higher gas prices at the pump, there's another energy crisis brewing across the country. But the people who actually run the As Americans feel the shock of higher gas prices at the pump, there's another energy crisis brewing across the country, but the people who actually run the electrical grid issuing stark warnings. For 100 years, America's electrical system mostly stable, with blackouts being the rare exception. But when they do happen, they can have exceptional consequences.
The situation here in Brownsville was described as anarchy, war, rioting.
Every source of power that the state of Texas has been compromised.
Now a new combination of the latest artificial intelligence data centers and aging power plants is creating a perfect storm, from the big city to the Great Plains.
Becoming more of a challenge across the whole eastern part of the United States.
Rich Dewey oversees NISO, which runs the grid in New York.
Rich, you say the grid is at an inflection point. What does that mean?
Really, it's a confluence of a number of different factors. So we're on the cusp of really new technologies coming onto the grid, and it's really got us concerned about our ability to meet reliability for not only for New York City, but for the state as a whole.
Dewey says on a peak day, the demand is 32 to 33,000 megawatts. Now they have proposals for 13,000 more megawatts in demand for AI alone, a nearly 50% increase.
At a time of significant load growth, we're actually retiring more generation that we're building, and that gives us some concerns.
New York is connected to about half of the country through the Eastern Interconnection, and Dewey says everyone is talking about the problem.
What we're seeing is the story in New York is a very similar story across all the other regions.
Another grid operator called PJM handles power in 13 states and D.C. They say they've got the same problems. They're letting new data centers connect only if they bring their own power plants online too, or they have to agree to power down when the grid gets stressed. It's becoming a political hot topic, with protests against new data centers at town halls across the country. Starting to hit Americans' wallet too, with average electricity prices across the country up about 5% in the last year, and more than 35% in the last 5 years. Florida's governor says he's for some new regulations on their construction and impact on the grid. And in California, some projections indicate a doubling of the state's demand in the next 10 years. For the companies that actually have to deliver the power, it's all they're talking about too.
We know across the country we need to generate more power and we need to invest in infrastructure to move it. And that's what we're all focused on.
Sally Librera runs National Grid New York.
We are investing in the grid throughout the state. Upstate, we are making the largest investment that's ever been made in the grid. We're rebuilding 1,000 miles of transmission. We are investing heavily in substations. And the reason that we're doing that is because we want to grow the grid.
That includes the natural gas to fuel the plants, now the biggest fuel source for electricity across the country, surpassing coal about a decade ago. And despite the global conflict, natural gas prices have remained relatively low this year. For now.
There's a lot of interest in nuclear technology and in...
She said the gas prices are remaining low for now, you see? Because it's going to continue to go up, especially as America and Israel continues this war with Iran, you know? And just imagine a blackout, how your average American is going to react when the food in the refrigerator and the freezer spoil, when they're on their last cracker and bottled water. Just imagine how these McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's eating niggas are going to react. Just imagine their mindset in that day. So that's where 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, is going to kick in. And 16th chapter, where, you know, friends are going to fight one another, breaking in each other's houses for goods. 2nd Ezra 6, storehouses going to be found empty, and you people are going to be in the midst of a full-blown famine. We're in the midst of a famine now, but you can still go to your different Sprouts and, you know, your Publix. You can still go to the store. You can still go get you a fish sandwich from McDonald's, you know. You can still go get what you need from these different grocery stores, but eventually these things are going to be shut down. And you people are just going to be left there with your mouth wide open in the state of perplexity. You see? But that's pretty much the point for that. You know, you people are going to be affected by these things, man. But this Exodus 10 and verse 21, it says, "And the Lord Yahweh Shemel Shah said unto Moses, Stretch out thine hand toward heaven, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even darkness which may be felt." You see? And if you go in the Wisdom of Solomon 17, it tells you that it was so dark that you could feel the darkness, man. You see? You couldn't see in front of you. You know, the Lord was tormenting the Egyptians by different creatures, sounds of creatures that literally made them have heart attacks, man. So how much more on the soils of America when Daniel 12:1 tells you that it's going to be so bad out here that Michael the archangel is going to have to stand up on the behalf of the elect. It says, "And Moses stretched forth his hand toward heaven, and there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days." 3 days of darkness. "They saw not one another, neither rose any from his place." For 3 days, hold on, let me go back. It says, "And Moses stretched forth his hand toward heaven, and there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days. They saw not one another, neither rose any from his place for 3 days. But all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings." You see? And on a spiritual note, you know, in today's time, that would be the elect having his word, having Yahweh Shai. You see? On the spiritual, you know, point of view. You know? Because the Lord has sent out the light in these last days for you Jakes to get it. So when these evils do come, when the Lord does intensify these evils, you ain't gonna trip, because the Lord told you of these things before it happened. And the Lord has given us this grace period to ultimately prepare ourselves for these evils, man. But this was a actual account where Yahweh Shai himself, you know, was making sure that the children of Israel had light in the midst of that darkness. You see? So how much more in today's time? You see? Well, we're seeing the chariot sightings. The angels are encamped around about us that fear the Lord. So when a blackout happens over here in America, spiritual Sodom and Egypt, guess what? The Lord is going to activate those same miracles on the behalf of his chosen, man. Lord willing, we are that number. But it starts with us possessing this truth, which is the light, you know. But even in real darkness, the Lord's going to make sure that we're still going to have, you know, light in that day in the midst of a blackout. You may be, you hear brothers say, you know, you may be the only house on the block with light, you see. But the Lord's so cold with it to where, yeah, you got light in your house, but to the outside, like your neighbors, your house may still look like it's dark and there's no light there. You know, that's how cold the Lord is. But to their eyes, is no light. But you inside your house with light, stove still work for you to cook food, you know. Or the Lord can have it to where your house not even there, you know, to their eyes. They may not even see your house. We don't know, man. The Lord is going to do, you know, extravagant things on the behalf of his chosen, man. That's why I said, then shall it be known who the Lord's chosen is, man. You see? But this, you know, you can continue to read on. It's going into how Pharaoh wouldn't let, you know, Israel go. Well, he said he would let us go, but, you know, he had to keep the flocks, you know, and all that. But you can read the rest on your own. But that was pretty much the point, you see? Matter of fact, let me go to that Wisdom of Solomon. So, yeah, man, it's going to get bad out here, man. It's Wisdom of Solomon 17:1. It says, for great are thy judgments and cannot be expressed. You see, so we can't really express the judgments of the Lord. Just like in ancient Egypt, the Egyptians couldn't express how the Lord was fucking them up. It says, therefore, unnurtured souls have erred. For when unrighteous men thought to oppress the holy nation, you see, they being shut up in their houses, that's concerning the Egyptians, and the holy nation is Israel. They being shut up in their houses, the prisoners of darkness, and fettered with the bonds of a long night, you see, lay there exiled from the eternal providence. For while they supposed to lie hid in their secret sins, they were scattered under a dark veil of forgetfulness, being horribly astonished and troubled with apparitions. You see, that's spirits, man. You see, demons. The Lord was plaguing the Egyptians with demons, man. You know, those spirits created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. You know, what do you think the Lord allowed to happen to the Egyptians? That's why the Lord told us the things that were written aforetime were written for our learning. So the Lord stepped in on our behalf and tortured our enemies, man. You know, and the Lord is not called a king of terrors for nothing, man. You see, continuing on, it says, for neither might the corner that held them keep them from fear, but noises as of waters falling down sounded about them, and sad visions appeared unto them with heavy countenance, you see? So it was all type of creatures. They probably seen like red eyes, you know. Ain't no telling what the fuck they seen, man. All type of creatures that was making certain sounds. The Lord had them hearing certain sounds that they never heard before, terrorizing them. It says no power of fire might give them light. So not even fire, a flame, could get them light. That's how dark it was. Neither could the bright flames of the stars endure to lighten that horrible night. Yeah, because even the stars give forth a form of light, you know. You be outside with no street lights, you know. The moon give light, you know. And the stars can give you light, man. But they had none of that. It was like you having your eyes closed. That's how dark it was. You see? It says, only there appeared unto them a fire kindled of itself. See? Very dreadful. For being much terrified, they thought the things which they saw to be worse than the sight they saw not. You see? So it was bad, man. The Lord was terrorizing the Egyptians. And what do you think the Lord's going to do to you punk ass Americans, man? You see, who talk shit and scoff our God, Yahweh Shemal Shai. You Americans hold fast to some sweet fucking Jeebus. You hold fast to some fucking Jehovah, you know, Buddha. You hold fast to all these false God names, and you think our power ain't gonna fuck you people up. Well, you people are sadly mistaken. And that's why we say the Wadi Yahweh Shemal Shai, that the Lord is going to continue to fuck you people life up, man. You see? Jeremiah 30:5, it says, for thus saith the Lord, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. So this ain't no peace and safety message, man. Ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. You see, and it tells you how the mighty men are going to cry bitterly. Your different SEALs teams, 6 niggas, you know, you army niggas, you tough guys, you know, you Pookies and Ray Rays want to put switches on people and terrorize people. Well, the Lord is going to have you in so much torment that you're going to be like a bitch in that day. And you women, don't even get me started on you, Eve, because all the shit and boss shit you talking, the Lord definitely going to humble the shit out of you. That's why it'll be in your best interest for you to repent and turn back to Yahweh Shema Shah. Because when the Lord really touched this place, all of your goods is going to go out the window. 911 is going to go out the window. And when them lights go out, prepare to have your ass taken and your ass beat. You see? You got women putting their hands on men. You caused all type of chaos because you want to hold fast to the doctrine of Esau the serpent. And you're going to find out real soon that was the wrong thing to do. You see? It says at last for that day is great. So Jacob's trouble is going to be a great day. And that's really the day of the Lord. And guess what? You're in Jacob's trouble. This is just the beginning of sorrows. It says so that none is like it. So it's not going to be a time in history that's going to compare to Jacob's trouble. It says it is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. And those are the only ones that's going to make it out of here is the elect. You see? It's Isaiah 48 and Isaiah 41 and verse 8. It says, but thou, Israel, art my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the seed of Abraham, my friend. You see? So just like Abraham was a friend of the Most High, guess what? Through the Lord having mercy upon us and blessing us to return back to this truth, back to our nationality, our heritage, our power. Yahweh Shah told us that he called us not servants, but friends, you see? And Yahweh Shah makes us friends with the Heavenly Father by believing on Yahweh Shah. So now we have been made friends of Yahweh Shema Shah. It says, thou whom I have taken from the ends of the earth, and have called thee from the chief men thereof, and said unto thee, thou art my servant, I have chosen thee, and not cast thee away. So the Lord has not cast away his people, starting with the elect. It says, fear thou not, for I am with thee. So we're not supposed to fear these things that are coming, because as it tells you in Sirach, the 39th chapter, that these evils are ultimately created for the wicked. You see? It says, fear not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy power. See, the Lord is the power of the Israelites. You see? The Lord is not the God of everybody. So God don't love everybody. God only loves Israel, starting with the elect. It says, I will strengthen thee. Yeah, I will help thee. Yeah, I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness. So the elect has nothing to worry about. But just know that these blackouts are coming. But these things are only for you people that trust in this place, America. But as for the elect, trust in Yahweh Shema Shah. And the Lord going to take care of us. But Lord willing, that was edifying. I would like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Rakakudash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, the men who taught me this truth. Peace and blessings be to the hopeful elect, you men, women, and little ones that believe on the words of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. Shalom.